Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today I have some really creepy real life story that will leave you shocked. If you have ever experienced something terrifying, I would love to hear about it. You can send me your stories through this email and I will do my best to share them with everyone. And this email is in the description. Just one thing, make sure your stories are real. We want the really creepy stuff. No fake stories. Now, without wasting any more time, here is the story that will blow your mind. Something you have never heard before.
I'm just here to help. Whoever's with me right now, can you tell me your name? Oh, shit! Shane? Is that you?
No, I'm in the closet.
You are in a Villisca, Iowa, and there's this house that looks totally normal from the outside, but inside, it has one of the darkest stories you can't even imagine. Back in 1912, the Moore family lived here. Josiah Moore, the dad, Sarah Moore, the mom, and their six kids. Busy, loud, full of life, a normal big family. A few friends of a family were visiting that summer for a quiet evening. By the way, just so you know, the Moores had been living in this house for several years before that tragedy happened. So this was not some new place. They were settled, comfortable, and then it all went horribly wrong. And also, some neighbors later said they noticed weird things around the house even before that tragedy. Strange shadows moving across windows, cold spots, little noises at odd hours. Creepy, right? The house itself is a classy early 90s Iowa house. Two stories, white siding, and a small front porch. When you stop inside, you first enter a tiny entryway, then a cozy living room with a fireplace. There's the dining room with the simple wooden table, and the kitchen at the back with cupboards and an old stove. Upstairs, the bedrooms are tiny, just enough for a large family. Honestly, at first glance, it looks normal, almost inviting. But once you know the story, every corner feels a little off. And by the way, even today, visitors say the house gives you strange chills, like a cold breeze out of nowhere, or tiny whispers when no one is around. That night in June 1912, everything seemed ordinary. The kids were tucked into bed, the parents in their room, and friends had left earlier. Thank God that their friends had left the house early. At least this way, their lives were saved from the tragedy. Some people say that night was something off. The air felt strange, like tension you could not explain. The next morning, neighbors noticed silence where there should have been noise. No kids playing, no smoke from breakfast. The neighbors started feeling suspicious when they noticed something was off. One of the women decided to check in and approached the house. She rang the doorbell repeatedly, called out from outside, "Is everything okay? Are you there?" But there was no response. It was strange because the house was usually full of noise every day. Feeling something was wrong, he tried to force the door open but could not. It was too heavy. She called her husband and other family members for help, and together they finally managed to break the door. She kept calling inside, "Miss Sarah, are you there? Is everything okay?" Still no answer. When they entered and knocked on the bedroom door, the sight inside was horrifying. A scene so terrifying that their screams echoing through the entire house. They rushed to the children's room, desperate to find out if they were okay, but what they saw inside was even more horrifying. Overwhelmed by fear, they ran outside immediately to alert the neighbors and call the police. I know you are probably curious about what had happened, about what they saw, but it was so terrifying that I don't even have this courage to describe it. So listen carefully because what I am about to tell you is something you won't forget easily. Every single member of the family, all 8 of them, had been brutally murdered with an axe. Can you imagine? It's too much terrifying. I can't even process this. Every single member of the family, all 8 people, had been brutally murdered with an axe. Their skulls were crushed and blood was everywhere. Yet their bodies remained exactly where they had been sleeping, as if they had simply lain down to rest. Their eyes were wide open, frozen in a blank stare, and the room was filled with silence so heavy that it felt as though the house itself was holding this breath. The police arrived and checked the house carefully, while all the neighbors had gathered outside, whispering nervously among themselves. The bedrooms were where the horrifying truth revealed itself. The axe, the murder weapon, had been left behind and nothing else had been stolen or standing there looking around. It was impossible not to feel a deep, bone chilling unease. Visitors say the air inside feels suffocating, heavy, as if the walls themselves were holding onto the memories of that unspeakable horror. Every glance, every corner seemed to whisper the screams and fear that had filled the house that day. The police were confused. They asked the neighbors questions and looked for suspect, but the case was never solved. Some people think it was a stranger, maybe a crazy man passing through. Others whispered about strange behavior in town, but there was no proof. Over time, ghost hunters and paranormal investigators added their ideas. Maybe the spirit of the family never left because of the violent deaths. Decades later, in 1994, someone bought the house and restored it to look exactly like it did in 1912. The bedrooms, the furniture, even the eggs, all were kept the same. Today, it is a haunted tourist attraction. People stay overnight, yes, for $28 a night, and often report hearing children laughing or screaming. Shadows move across the rooms. Strange cold drafts appear out of nowhere, and whispers can be heard when no one is there. Some visitors even claim to have seen a man with an axe roaming the halls. Oh, and here's the something really creepy from November 2014. A man named Robert Steven went to the house with a friend for a normal ghost hunting visit. But around 12:45 a.m., which is the same time the 9/12 murders happened, he hurt himself in what police later called a self-inflicted injury. He survived, but he has never talked about what really happened that night. The house owner said the whole thing was really upsetting. She did not want people to think that if they visit the house, something scary will force them to do something bad. Even with all this, the house still stays open for visitors, and people continue to report weird, unexplained things. Can you imagine spending a night there? So, the next time you walk past a quiet old house, just remember something in there might still be watching, waiting. So, what do you think really happened?